I don't want to be Herbert Hoover.
While the nation is transfixed on what's happening in Los Angeles as Trump sends in troops and the National Guard to arrest a few waiters and busboys and the pushback from America, you begin to wonder just how much pushback is happening across this country, and not in California, but in red states like Kentucky. I bring that up because I was reading a story today about a woman named Ali Rothschild who has been talking about Trump and the division in this country for quite a while. In fact, I found a video of her at a place at the Commonwealth Club in San Francisco. I saw her speak back in 2016. And her point was this: it could get worse before it gets better. And boy, was she right. And I look at this right now and I ask myself, what's happening across America in these red states? I'll show you the pushback here in California in a few minutes at Trump's invasion of Los Angeles. But what about states like Kentucky? And that was the subject of her piece. Here's her point. While Trump's base is pretty much your hardcore true believers, the Democrats for the longest time had the swing voters and independents. But after the post-pandemic inflationary numbers pretty much wrecked Biden's, well, at least on the surface, made Biden's presidency look like it stumbled when in fact it didn't. Inflation was dropped dramatically. That's what elected Trump in 2024. So what about the first 4.5 months of Trump's presidency? Well, it's not good. Listen to these numbers. Economic growth is expected to fall from 3.3% from last year's numbers to 2.9% this year. And the U.S. will fare even worse as a whole, going from a 2.8% climb last year to only 1.6% this year. That's between 10 and 40% decline in economic output. And who is that hurting? This is the kicker here. It's mostly these red states.
What percentage of your soybeans is exported?
100% of my beans.
100%?
Right.
And he believes almost all of it has gone to China over the years. But with President Trump's tariff war, China is no longer buying U.S. soybeans. Income has plunged 20% on this farm over the last year because of that.
When you're operating on margins of less than single-digit percentage margins, 20% is very devastating. I don't know of any business out there, any businessman out there would keep his doors open, where he would have to take his own equity out of his own
and that's what you're doing?
Yes, the farm's using the equity it's built up over the years just to survive.
Rick's father, Frank, has been farming here for 70 years, and his uncle Tom is a 60-year farming veteran.
Frank, who did you vote for president?
Mr. Trump.
Rick?
Trump.
Mr. Trump.
If the election were today, Frank, would you vote for Donald Trump?
No way.
Hochschild goes on to say, in the first months of Mr. Trump's second term, his story of loss, shame, blame, and retribution has split the country into two emotional zones. Many in America's blue half have begun to feel a strange fear. They suddenly have to worry about losing college scholarships, jobs, grants, medical care, and protection from the prying eyes of government officials gathering information from their social media posts.
I am the political prisoner of a failing nation.
They have heard themselves described as scum, public officials whose security detail he's withdrawn fear for their safety. Federal judges who ruled against Mr. Trump have received threatening phone calls. This is not just California, this is the entire nation. And people are looking at this guy asking themselves, how can we survive 40 more months?
Tonight, tensions rising across the country as Trump faces new roadblocks.
Trump is hate! Trump is hate!
Protesters outside Phoenix blocking the main highway to a Trump rally. Demonstrators lining up using their own cars to stop traffic.
She goes on to say, what do things feel like, I wonder, to the people in Kentucky's 5th District? Are we approaching a tipping point when they might start to question Mr. Trump, either because of his threats to democracy or because of his economic policies that'll make their lives tougher? After all, experts predict Mr. Trump's tariffs will raise prices and his budget cuts will hit some of his strongest supporters the hardest.
How about among Republicans, the Republican base? This was a shocker to me. 64% of Republicans believe that tariffs will, in fact, cause prices to go up.
To the United States, but Fords and Chevys made in the United States, all those prices are going to skyrocket. Now, could Republicans in Congress specifically be doing more to push the president to try to de-escalate his trade war? What leverage do you have?
Well, in Article 1 in the Constitution, really tariffs should be a congressional initiated action. So this should come from Congress. However, I think we made a mistake. In the past, we passed legislation that gave the president some temporary tariff authorities.
So we're beginning to see a slow erosion what MAGA expected and thought, which was this undying allegiance to a guy who promised he would make life better, but he's doing the exact opposite. I mean, tariffs are going to kill these people. If you look at the price of things at Walmart, which is the #1 importer of Chinese goods and the #1 employer of Americans in the private sector, well, they said they were forced to eat the tariffs, according to Trump, but that doesn't mean they won't lay people off. Lay off people like in Kentucky.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
And now you can say you're fired.
The Wall Street Journal reported that at least 11 major companies were leaving law firms that Trump had cowed into backing down from employing people who were involved in the investigation of the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Trump told them if they didn't get rid of these people, they would lose these government contracts. So some of the companies that actually were with these law firms that cowed, they pulled their support from the law firms. Included in that list are McDonald's, Morgan Stanley, and Oracle. So if you have people in these red states and you have Fortune 500 companies backing away from Trump, what's next? I mean, I get it that people in red states look at California as kind of weird and kind of out there, but they got to feel uncomfortable with what's happening here, especially when you have the president of the United States saying that he believes a governor of a sovereign state who has broke no laws should be arrested.
Daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it.
But that's just the beginning. While you see young people across the country beginning to push back, I mean, I'm talking about people in places like Kentucky, as Hochschild writes, there's a strong resentment of what this administration is doing and what this administration is telling them to do. Listen to this man in Los Angeles, standing and pointing his finger at these National Guard. He articulates this very well without threatening them, asking them why are they on the wrong side.
Feel tough with your assault rifles and your sticks? You should be standing here with us. You're on the wrong side of history. We know you got a job to do, but you took an oath to the Constitution, not to the fascists in the White House. Think about what you're doing now. Think about what this means. Coming into our community. Peaceful fucking community. People working their jobs. They send in men in military fatigues. Weapons of war into our communities. And you stand here and you allow it. I am sick and tired of it. You should be sick and tired of it. You think any of these people in the White House sending you these commands give a f*** about you? Not one of them do. They laugh at you. Our president laughs at you. He calls you fools. He said the people who died overseas in the military were chumps. That's who you're defending right now.
I got more coming up, but first I want to tell you a little bit about Medicare and what a nightmare it is to try to find the right plan. It's extremely difficult. And here's something, if you didn't know it, if you're approaching the age for Medicare, if you miss that date and you don't contact Medicare, you can actually be penalized for years. So don't make that mistake. Contact Chapter. Now, what is Chapter? Chapter is the only national Medicare advisor that compares every available plan so you can be sure you're seeing all your options, not just a few. And when I spoke to the Chapter advisors, I got them on the phone immediately. It was amazing. They showed me how much more my wife and I were spending than we had to. Now, if your plan's perfect, they'll say stay right there, but they've saved me tens of thousands of dollars. And when you speak to the Chapter advisors, they'll walk you through every step. Chapter is completely independent, so they're there just to help you, not the insurance companies. And when you call, you talk to an honest, patient, and unbiased advisor who's going to walk you through everything step by step. No pressure to sign up. And if you're younger, make sure you tell your parents about this. There's the phone number on the screen. Call them today, 816-953-0071. That's 816-953-0071. Medicare, get it right with Chapter. Look, a lot of people in this country are living on the edge. If we start to see Trump policies lead to price hikes and benefit cuts, especially Medicaid and Social Security and food stamps, some people are going to start to say, wait a minute, I didn't vote for this.
Goddamn right.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
TikTok.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donna.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.